I'm so excited. And
are you sure you're excited? I mean, I'm excited. He's like, I'm excited. Watch Crazy Eights. Watch Crazy Eights with Justin. I'm excited.
I am extremely enthusiastic, and
I'm extremely enthusiastic.
So ready for this team. Yeah, this is probably the best we're gonna get out of me. But you know.
Liftoff. We have a liftoff.
What is going on, everyone? You are listening to the Summit State of Mind, the podcast of dream shakes and step backs, and everything Houston Rockets, presented to you by the Apollo Podcast Network. I am your host, your commissioner, Kenny. With me, as always, is my brother, my tag team partner, the GM, Justin. Follow all of us on all social media platforms at JP_Mirabueno, at Summit Commish, at Summit SOM Pod, and at Apollo NBA, and at Apollo HOU. GM, fresh off the weekend on a Sunday night, but man, oh man, we were a little busy this weekend. We're not able to talk about the draft, which is why we are coming back here on a Sunday with crazy news in regards to the NBA draft. The Houston Rockets have brought Amen Thompson and Cam Whitmore to the city of Houston officially. But before we go into that, I have to ask you the golden question. How's everything good, sir?
Oh, man, it's going. Everything is good. We are back from Austin. We were gone all weekend, and we are here. We made it back in time to talk Rockets with everybody. And we're just so happy with how everything played out Thursday evening. I just want to thank those of you who decided to follow us along on Thursday on the Apollo NBA draft stream. Thank you guys.
Big shout outs and thank yous to those who followed.
For those that hung out and decided to ask some questions and interact with us while we were, observing the draft. It was a fun night.
Reacting.
It was a very good night.
And if just the ones that watched, because you got to see the whiteboard go to work.
But usage.
I did put usage. I thought I did. I enjoyed it.
It kept it very efficient.
I don't know who enjoyed it. They didn't seem like they enjoyed it, but I enjoyed it. We had a moment. What was that from that scene from the movie or TV show?
It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia.
We brought out, what was the lineup that Josh had?
I don't remember anymore.
I think it was like, the Chaos lineup.
Yeah, the
It was
Chaos.
like the Chaos lineup, which is like basically going into the summertime, what would be the most chaotic situation in terms of Houston Rockets.
God.
In terms of like free agency and
The
stuff
roster.
like that. So we did come back from Austin. Fun trip. Got to catch the Dynamo away from home. That was a shellacking that I do not want to go into. But we are back, and we're here to talk about the Houston Rockets. That's right. Let's go ahead and give a quick recap in terms of the Houston Rockets and the 2023 NBA draft. With the fourth pick, the Houston Rockets did select Amen Thompson, all according to plan. But then here comes the big shocker of the night. The shock could be the shocker of the year so far in terms of NBA content. But Cam Whitmore, who was highly touted to be the top 6, maybe even top 5 player in the NBA draft, slipped all the way to 20.
Unbelievable stuff.
I want to talk about Amen Thompson in just a minute, but I do want to go into depth a little bit on this Cam Whitmore situation. Cam Whitmore dropping all the way to 20. Mm-hmm. What were your thoughts, on that in terms of, I guess, the idea that, look, we knew one was Wemby, 2 was going to be either Scoot or Brandon. Flip, it was a toss-up between the both of them at some
both
point.
2 and 3.
Went Brandon at 2, and then we went Scoot at 3, and then Amen at 4. And I was anticipating Whitmore was going to be top 7. There was an idea of maybe he would drop down to 10, but there was no inkling at all until we got to like pick 11 that he could possibly fall all the way down to 20 on the Houston's lap with their second pick in the NBA draft. GM, what are your thoughts so far on the fact that Cam Whitmore, who is a top 5 talent, in my opinion, in the NBA draft, dropping all the way to 20?
Well, I mean, according to the reports, we saw that it was either a mixture of interview process, him during the interview, and workouts were not as great, which is what similarly happened to Tari Eason the year before when he dropped to us, and medical reports and physicals that I guess may have looked questionable to some of the NBA teams, and which is why they decided to pass on Cam Whitmore. But hey, man, like that's great for us. I'll take that.
I'll take it too.
I mean?
No, Amen, like the fact that Amen Thompson was available to us at 4 was great because there was the possibility of him going 3. But Cam Whitmore, going all the way down to 20 was just a whole nother thing in terms of the process. And the big thing here is that medicals were the concern. But, like, I'm trying to figure out, like, what was the medical? Like, what are we talking about? Like, what is the medical? It's undisclosed information. We don't know what it is. It was enough to frighten, like, the 18 teams that, like, or wait, I'm sorry, no, I can do math. 20 minus 4, 16. The 16 other picks that were going to go ahead of us, leading into the 20th pick to scare them away from not wanting to draft Cam Whitmore. It seemed like there was a lot of buzz that started building up over the span of the day, especially going into the night of Cam Whitmore. So I don't know. Like, what is it? What is the health concern? You know what I mean? What is the medical health concern? Are we talking, is it back injury? Is it leg? Is it knee? Is it ankle? Is it mental health? Are we getting a Royce White situation here? A man who's afraid to fly? Like, I don't know.
Yeah.
Like, what is the start of this situation? Where does it end? And the comfortability of enough of the Rockets organization to want to draft a Cam Whitmore. I think bottom line, at least for me, it's a low risk, high reward situation because of the fact that you're not spending the 4th pick on it. You're not spending the 5th or 6th pick on it. It's not a high leverage situation. It's the 20th overall pick in the NBA draft. A very low risk, high reward maneuver situation could be the possible steal of the draft. GM, I know we're not going to go into speculation in terms of what the medical concern is. For me, I thought the pick was worth it. What do you think the pick was in terms of the Rockets? Like, was this the right move for the team?
Absolutely. I mean, when you have a talent that is considered to be a top 5, top 6 talent drop all the way to number 20, you have to take it. And, you know, we weren't the only team trying to grab him. Was it reported that Indiana was trying to trade up as well? And it felt like the Rockets had already considered him as a number 4 pick. And the fact that he was in consideration says a lot to how the team viewed him and his skill set. And the fact that he dropped all the way to 20, just, hey, man, at 20, more draft picks usually don't pan out. So the fact that you had a player of his caliber drop all the way down obviously is concerning to an extent, but the roster is deep enough to understand that we don't need him to be the best player right now. But the fact that he does have potential to be a great rotational player, to be a starter on this team, that at number 20, that's a steal. And you can't defend not taking him. And for us, I feel like that's an ultimate victory in terms of just a stroke of luck. Granted, we didn't have the number 1, number 2, or number 3 pick, but we were fortunate enough to have number 4 and number 20. I mean, obviously, it could have been higher for the lottery. 20 was set for us, but in regards of all of that, that is a victory, in my opinion. And, you can say that it was a stroke of genius by Rafael Stone.
Or a stroke of luck.
It's definitely a mixture of stroke of genius and luck. I mean,
I don't know what happened
the trade
in the
for
war.
Eric Gordon to get us
Eric
there
Gordon
is certainly some form of positive, not reinforcement, but a positive move made by Rafael Stone. And the fact that Cam Whitmore did drop just says a lot about, just the stroke of luck that the team had in regards to this draft. And we were so handsomely rewarded. And, as fans, you couldn't be more excited to see what the future brings in terms of the second phase of this rebuild with Ime Udoka at the helm. Like, all of these guys are going to learn from what it's like to be under the tutelage of a real coach. And with Amen Thompson and Cam Whitmore, we do have an understanding that we do have to be patient, but Ime Udoka, what he's going to do is he's going to set the right standards, and he's going to set the precedent in terms of expectations of how not just these rookies but the rest of the team will perform, not just going into training camp, but well into the season, and hopefully at some point a play-in, maybe a playoff run, who knows. But at this point right now, this is only the beginning. Phase 2 is just beginning,
right,
and we're not even in free agency yet. But when it comes to the draft right now, this is a win, and it's a big victory. And you see a lot of pundits rate it as an A, an A+. And with that, all that being said, hey man, like, there's nothing wrong with being excited. And Rockets fans, you should be excited about what the future holds. I promise you, we're going nowhere but up.
Yeah, 100%. And pour one out one time for Eric Gordon. Shout outs to Eric Gordon. because he actually played well enough to where we could actually get that pick and pick 20, and the Clippers were so kind enough to trade that first-round pick over to us. Thank you very much, Eric Gordon. We appreciate you for your service. You did it one time for the city of Houston.
Thank you.
More on the way out. We basically traded Eric Gordon straight up for Cam Whitmore. Cam Whitmore, in my opinion, I don't want to go into too much depth on him. We're going to save future episodes for that. But in my opinion, one of the most versatile players in the NBA. He's 6'8", a solid 230 already. NBA-ready body, strong as an ox. Shifty around the rim, strong. He has athleticism, ball handling. Easily one of the most versatile players in the NBA draft. One of the most, because the most versatile player in the draft, in my opinion, is a Houston Rocket as well. And let's shift gears over to an Amen Thompson with the number 4 pick. All according to plan. Perfectly orchestrated and executed. The top 3 picks did what they needed to do, and the Houston Rockets came away with at least all reports indicative of their favorite player in the draft outside of Victor Wembanyama, obviously, and that is an Amen Thompson, 6'7", 6'10" wingspan. We talked about this time and time again, what the fit would look like, the possibility of it, but now it is officially done. He is a Houston Rocket now, and now the work begins here. GM, what was your reaction in terms of, I mean, we got to post kind of like our reaction, but now we kind of like let a couple of days of it sinking in now of Amen Thompson officially being on the team. Where does, we talked about the fit, but also, where does this lie in terms of the team? Like right now in day one, like is Scoot the point guard, or should we kind of start shifting ways towards maybe Amen as like the hybrid one as of right now?
Well, at this point, you want to put Amen as the hybrid one, but if we're not going to account free agency, as of today, Kevin Porter Jr. probably is still your starter if we were to just completely flat out just put it out there. But doesn't mean that Amen Thompson doesn't have the possibility of upending him come training camp time. But with all that being said, if we're going to account for free agency, Amen Thompson's probably going to come off the bench, and he's going to be a very versatile player. We shouldn't have incredibly high expectations for him, considering his shooting woes. But there's still a lot to learn in terms of applying his talent into the league. And with the amount of players that we do have, especially if we do bring in some veterans, it'll allow Amen to go at his own learning curve. We're not going to vault him immediately to the front end of everything, and he's not going to be given everything either. He's definitely going to have to earn the trust and respect of Ime Udoka. But out of all the things that we've heard post-draft, especially the fact that he's a basketball junkie. He's the kind of guy that will watch film during
dare I say shades of a young Rembrandt of Alex Bregman. That's like that is kind of the vibe I get. There's some swagger to Amen Thompson.
Oh, absolutely.
When you want to talk basketball, like just go up and look up some videos right now. Go on YouTube. If you're on Twitter, go check out on Twitter. Like the one thing that also went viral recently was him being able to call out all the higher picks. So it was like basically 2 players, for instance, like Devin Booker, Bradley Beal, who was the higher draft pick, and they played this game, and I think he went like 10 out of 10. It's obvious that he's
paying attention.
Yeah, he's paying attention to it, and it's crazy to think about too, because reports are also coming out. Either it's been out or now it's actually making like big waves of like, apparently while he was in the overtime elite, he would spend times in practice and he'd sleep in the locker room just so he can get up and go straight back to the basketball court. I mean, this dude eats, sleeps, breathes basketball at a mature level. It reminds me, I'm seeing this right now, it reminds me so much of a young, swagger-filled Alex Bregman. Shout-outs to the baseball fans that listen to the show. But the smarts, the maturity, the fact that he's a Rembrandt in terms of basketball IQ, talent, his ability to want to learn about the game. It's definitely different. And I'm not knocking Jalen or Jabari. Amen, like he just seems like a different animal.
Yeah.
Like seems like he's just different. You know what I mean? Jalen came in with all this, with the skill set in the world. Like he had skill. We knew what he was, bounce ability. We knew what he kind of brought to the table, but definitely raw, right? Jabari came in with elite shooting ability, with a hunger to win, but we weren't sure what the IQ lied, and we didn't know where the work was going to lie. You know what I mean? Like it was believed that he was going to be a hard worker. Amen, we know he has a high IQ. We know that he's a Rembrandt in terms of basketball abilities. We know that he has high talent.
Yeah.
It's the big knock was the shooting, but the fact of the matter is that he brings a little something different to the table now than what Jabari and Jalen had already brought.
Yeah.
Not even accounting for an LP or a Tari Eason as well. That's going to be on the table for us. Like, you're talking about in terms of basketball playing skills and having someone like that.
Yeah.
You're talking with Coach Ime Udoka. Oh, this team's going to get ready to eat, man.
Yeah,
I'm excited.
This team has
I'm excited.
There's a lot of potential in terms of what this team will bring to the table, and I'm so excited. And
are you sure you're excited? I'm excited. He's like, I'm excited. Watch Crazy 8s. Watch Crazy 8s with Justin. I'm excited.
I am extremely enthusiastic, and
I'm
I
extremely
am
enthusiastic.
so ready for this team. Yeah, this is probably the best you're gonna get out of me. But like with all of that being said, it's like the talent that we've collected, barring the trades that are probably bound to come with all the cluster that we have on this roster, we're gonna have to eventually crunch it, and like you're starting to see who are going to be the major players moving forward, and there's still opportunities for some of the other players to carve out their spots on this team and even possibly in the rotation. But like just the fact that we have collected so much talent in the last 3 years, especially thanks to the James Harden trade, like there's still possibilities moving forward as well for many years. So it's just there's so much that can happen and so much that's gonna happen. You just have to be patient and understand that this is still a part of the process, and the wins will come. They're gonna come.
I think the wins are gonna come actually right away. I mean, but hey, what do I know? I called play-in last year, so if I don't call play-in, if I don't call play-in this year, what are we doing? We're not even in free agency yet, and I'm already calling play-in. I mean, I think the joke is, and shouts to the people that follow us on Instagram. That follow Paul on Instagram, because I don't know what it seems like, but it seems like all the haters kind of come out of the woodwork. It's really funny. Like I posted the graphic of it was Jabari, Jalen. It was Jabari, Jalen. I went Amen Thompson, and Cam Whitmore. Mm-hmm. Did I have a fifth?
On the graphic, I don't remember if you had a fifth.
I'm gonna go.
It might have been just 4, but let's see.
No, I feel like I had 5. Did I have 5? No, I only had 4. You're right.
That's what I thought.
No, it's funny. The whole reason as to why I bring that up is just because people are funny, because people are like seeing that lineup and they're like, oh, ha ha ha, 25 wins, and I'm like, yeah, maybe if that was it. Mm-hmm. Free agency is going to happen, which we are going to go into in a little bit, but because I do want to round out obviously the segment and talking about Amen Thompson. Look, I mean, bottom line here is that Amen Thompson, Cam Whitmore, A+ draft. You couldn't ask for anything better in terms of what this team was going to provide, what they needed, what the needs were. Mm-hmm. Obviously, shooting. Look, let's be real. Amen Thompson shooting, not where we want it to be. A lot more work to be done, and I guarantee you, Houston fans, we're gonna go probably 5 games, maybe from like 5 on or 7 on, and you're gonna be like, yeah, oh, Amen Thompson, don't shoot. Oh, he's shooting the ball. Like, he's gonna average like 20-something% from 3. I guarantee it.
Yeah, that I mean, depending on if he takes those shots. But yeah, you're not wrong about that.
He's gonna, man. I'm telling you, there's gonna be moments where I'm just gonna. People are gonna scratch their heads. Like you're gonna have to trust the process. Amen is not a great shooter.
Nope.
You just have to pray that. What was that? I was gonna say Ben Olsen, but I'm thinking of the.
No, that's Dynamo. But Ben Sullivan.
Ben Sullivan.
He's here, and he's gonna save Amen Thompson's shot. I mean, if there's anything that players can improve on majorly in this league, it's always shooting, and you've noticed it throughout the trend, especially the last 10 years, how people that have come out of college mediocre and they've become excellent shooters. So I feel like Amen certainly has the potential to gain that acumen and to learn under the tutelage of Ben Sullivan and to at least become a competent outside shooter for this team.
Absolutely, and I can't wait to see what Amen Thompson's going to bring to the table. I mean, I'm so excited. We do have the press conference that's going to come up. We're releasing this on a Monday. We will have the press conference that is going to be out the same day. So if y'all are watching, listening to all Houston Rockets content, be sure to check out when the introductory press conference for Amen Thompson and Cam Whitmore, which is going to take place, I'm going to say today, because today would be Monday.
Today.
So take place today. I'm thinking around 1 or 2 p.m. So be on the lookout for that. And also along with that, that's going to be very interesting. And what is a great idea that you had actually suggested a little bit earlier was to talk about the numbers, what the number that they're going to wear. What we're speculating in terms of the numbers that Amen Thompson and Cam Whitmore is going to wear. Obviously, for example, like Cam Whitmore's number's 22.
He can't wear 22 in Houston.
Can't wear 22 in Houston.
Clyde the Glide said no.
Clyde
no,
the
sir.
Glide. Nope. He spent like 3 years with us, won a title, and was like, nah, son, you ain't wearing it no more.
This is Dunsky. No one else gets to touch it.
Let's talk about it, GM. Let's talk about it. So let's start with Amen Thompson. Let's start with the number one the number one pick for the Houston Rockets, anyways. What do you remember off the top of your head what number he wore? I think it was
0.
Yeah, I think it was 0.
I think it was 0. I did read somewhere that there's a possibility that he does go 00, but I'm not sure.
No, like Scoot?
Yeah, but
yuck.
I'm hoping that's not what's going to happen.
Thank you.
I'm hoping that's not what's going to happen.
Gee,
but,
no.
You know, like it's certainly something that has been speculated, but personally for me, I am hoping that that's not so. Asar Thompson in Detroit, his twin, is going number 9. You know, maybe he goes number 9 too, but you know, Asar is obviously his own man. But if I'm going to speak purely out of aesthetics, 00 is not it. Scoot Henderson's wearing 00. It just looks so weird, man. I don't know. That's just me.
It's not an aesthetically pleasing number.
And you know,
it's for Fit Check Friday. Shouts to Dex one time. You're not gonna get a fit check with that. That is not the move.
Yeah, I mean, you know.
So what do you think? What number does Amen Thompson go with? What do you think?
What do I want to say?
Yeah, I have mine. I already have mine, but I wanna know what you think.
Oh man, I don't know. I'm gonna go and say, number 1. Jabari Smith is not number 1 anymore, so I think Amen Thompson goes number 1.
Jerk took my jersey number. I was gonna pick that.
You think so too?
I think so too, but you took it already, so I have to come up with something else.
No, you don't have to.
No, GM, no, it's fine.
I think
it's fine.
We have the same line of thinking.
Nope.
It's okay.
I don't want this. I'm already upset. He wore number 1 in Overtime Elite, by the way. That's probably why you thought he was going to wear number 1.
Oh.
So he went number 1.
I didn't think that.
So he's going to go wear number 1.
Mm-hmm.
Chances are very high that he's going to be number 1.
Certainly a possibility, yeah.
Okay, so we got Kevin Porter Jr. wearing number 3.
Mm-hmm.
You got Jalen Green wearing number 4. Okay, the smart bet is that he's going to go 1. The smart bet is that he's going to go 1. Is there anyone wearing the number 0?
Ty.
Ty Washington?
Yeah.
Take that jersey number off of Ty Washington now.
Ty's wearing 0.
Nah, he shouldn't do it.
You know, I mean, it's a
And
possibility.
then you got KJ Martin wearing number 6.
Yep.
Is there anyone wearing number 7?
Not that I know of. Number 7's a good number.
Number 7's a good number, but I'm just going off speculation. Nah, I can't. I don't want to throw anything out there too much because I feel like it's just not going to be realistic. Yeah. I think Amen Thompson's going to wear the number 1. The GM did allude to this. Jabari did jump to number 10, his original jersey number from Auburn. So I fully expect him to take number 1. I mean, that's pretty much the safe bet. But Cam Whitmore, who wore number 22, I do have a put on my tinfoil hat theory. I do have something there.
What is the number that's in your mind?
I'm pretty sure you know, and everyone else is going to know too. But obviously, look, I'll create a little word story for you guys. But like, Cam Whitmore was, like I said earlier, a top 5 talent, top 6 talent in the NBA draft. Should have been drafted higher, in my opinion. Highway robbery in terms of the Rockets getting him at 20 being the key word here. War number 22, which is close enough to 20. He literally said in the post-draft interview, I'm going to come in with a chip on my shoulder because I think I dropped too low. What better way to like put that chip on your shoulder than to put it on your freaking jersey number, man? Call yourself 20 and show everybody why they effed up, except for the Rockets, obviously. And had you dropped all the way down, talk about making a statement right away from day one, rocking the number 20 jersey. GM. What's your guess?
I'm not going to lie. I really like that. That's actually a very 20? Clever, very, very clever. I mean, maybe he can go number 19 for the 19 teams that passed on him. But, I mean, granted, 19 spots. We did have a pick at 4, so it'd essentially be like, 18 teams? But
yeah,
there were a lot of teams doubling up. But anyways, personally for me, I'm pulling up the roster right now. It says that Willie Cauley-Stein was number 2. But I do think that there's a possibility that maybe Willie Cauley-Stein doesn't care. and Cam Whitmore decides that he goes to number 2. I like number 2.
That would be dope.
I think single-digit numbers just are a thing. I don't know what it is. Even though, granted, my two favorite numbers are number 9 and number 24. And, Jacobs at number 9. Moses Malone were number 24. Hence, it's being retired. 22 is retired. I just think that number 2 would be a good look and aesthetic for Cam Whitmore, but we'll see. I actually do like the commission's idea more. Number 20 seems like just a great way to play with a chip on your shoulder and to show the world, like, I was pick 20, but that's not exactly what it should have been. And if Cam is feeling very petty and feeling very clever in his moment, I do think that would probably be the best bet for him. And I think that'd be a great, great thing. And that could honestly sell some jerseys too, Actually, I'm not going to lie about that.
20 on Whitmore would actually look pretty dope, all things considered.
Yeah.
I want to know. Like, it's curiosity out of me. And it's the fun of the press conference that's going to be coming up. Like, what is the jersey number? You know what I mean? Like, what is it going to be?
It's just very fun to speculate, especially as fans. Yeah. We always want to speculate
it's
stuff
just
like that.
Something new. It's like, it's the shiny new toy. It's just, the brand new, and they're going to come in, and they're going to...
Yeah.
They're going to come in and play with the new look Rockets with Coach Ime Udoka. I mean, the GM already alluded to this earlier. It's just an exciting time to be a Houston Rockets fan. You got Amen Thompson and Jalen Green, officially the most athletic backcourt. Could be the most athletic backcourt in NBA history. Could be.
Yeah.
Like, in terms of jump ability. Like, bounce ability, getting out of the gym. Cam Whitmore himself also having major athleticism. Athleticism for freaking days amongst these guys. It's just such an exciting time to be a Houston Rockets fan. I do, however, want to move forward now. Look, the NBA draft, it's come, it's gone. We did as much in terms of breakdowns of what we can do in terms of Amen Thompson's fit. I do want to touch up on Cam Whitmore's fit though before we do move on, because we didn't get really a chance to talk about that. Cam Whitmore is a 3, could be a 4 even, because he is kind of a bigger dude. What do you think? How do you think he's gonna fit right out of the gate? Like, in my opinion, think realistically. If we're going to get the 2 vets, that is the plan, maybe even 3. There's just not many roster spots to be had, barring trades and, if KJ Martin gets traded or if Jayshawn Tate gets traded. But let's say they're all still here, you know what I mean? By the time training camp in the NBA season starts, where does Cam Whitmore kind of fit into the equation? Like, in my opinion, I think he's going to go to the G League. Like, if you add the vets into it on top of it, I think he starts the season in the G League. I don't think there's any other way you can spin it. A guy of that type of caliber and talent deserves reps. But what do you think Cam Whitmore kind of fits into the gel of this team?
It's certainly conceivable that your thought process in terms of Cam Whitmore going to the G League is certainly possible. For me, I'm just not sure if that's something that they're going to explore just yet. If he's not getting any PT after 20 games or so, I certainly see that as a possibility.
So he should suit up.
Yeah, I think he's going to suit up. I think he will.
Okay.
I think he will. Depending on what we see in training camp and preseason, I'm not sure how Udoka runs things in terms of rotations and with veterans, if he's going to prioritize veterans. I'm hoping what he sees and brings to the table in terms of his first training camp with this team is that he allows some of the younger players to earn their spots on this team. And even if it's to surpass a certain player, like if, let's say hypothetically speaking, like Jayshawn Tate is still in this roster, and, like he's slotted in as a man to come off the bench in the rotation, and once training camp is over, he no longer is because player X or player Y surpassed him. That's something that I do want to see. With Cam Whitmore, there's a lot of potential in terms of what he can be used in on this team, offensively and defensively.
Super versatile.
Absolutely.
Dog on defense.
And sometimes what we need is some versatility. And when you have major players like that can be like Swiss Army knives in terms of their usage, like a Jabari Smith Jr. who can defend the 3 through the 5, and you see a guy like a Amen Thompson who can play make, defensive dog, him and Tari Eason, and you're including Cam Whitmore as well. Like, there's a lot of potential with our youth. And, Kevin Porter Jr., if he's not the starter off the bench, being that sharp shooting guard that can come in and completely change the game with his scoring acumen. And then let's not even forget to mention Jalen Green. and what he can bring to the table. I mean, hey, if anyone was on Twitter today, I mean, you saw the video of Jalen Green working out.
He's
and
looking good.
He's definitely putting
the jump
on that
shot
weight.
looks smooth.
Yeah, man, it
No
all looks
hitch.
great. It looks great, and like
He
I said,
continues to gain weight.
exactly. My man's putting on that muscle, and he's going to show the world that he's ready. It's year 3, and he's going to make that next leap and move into that upper echelon of top guards in the NBA.
Year 3 is about to be cinema.
You already know, man. Number 4, our boy, Jalen Green, man. But with Cam Whitmore, like, his fit can be seamless, but I will say this is all up to him. It's all up to him based on what we see in training camp, and I'm excited, man. Training camp get here soon enough, and like once free agency is over, that's when we're just like, can we just speed up the clock,
Dog days,
and get there?
Dog days.
We just want to get there. You
well,
know?
you get summer league though. We have summer league, in which we will talk about in a future episode. That there will be summer league games, and we know that Cam Whitmore and Amen Thompson will be a part of it. So there will be some summer league games sprinkled in there. I think once that completes, we're gonna get into a little bit of a lull in terms of waiting for training camp. Well, there's going to be media day as well. That's going to come out, I'm thinking, around September, which is the typical time of the year.
Yeah.
So you got
usual,
that, and then that'll happen. So, look, bottom line, y'all, we're just really excited. I want to know what y'all think. I want to know how y'all feel about the acquisitions of a Cam Whitmore, of an Amen Thompson on an already youth-filled squad. Was it a good choice overall that we did get both of these players? Should we have traded out of that number 20 pick? You know, like, I want to know what y'all think, and if y'all believe that we should, I don't know. You got to double check your fandom one time, but. That's just my opinion, but I think that the Rockets made the absolute best choice in terms of what they could do and what they have moving forward. You're looking at pieces that could potentially create the possible core that can ultimately lead to contention and ultimately lead to a possible NBA championship a few years down the road. GM, speaking of which, we were talking about timelines and stuff like that. Look, free agency is going to begin officially this Friday, June 30th at 6 p.m. Eastern, 5 p.m. Central. Our
Really?
next
That's
episode.
the time?
Yep.
Oh.
Yeah, well, it's not midnight anymore. Remember, they changed it.
I forgot about
It's
that.
evening. Yeah, they changed it towards
That just
the
shows how old I am and remember those days.
Oh, the mellow iPad days.
No, I was talking about the
mellow
mellow
iPad
days.
days.
Yes, when Jeremy Lin was number 7, but they used his jersey number on Carmelo Anthony. That's a good way to hurt a man's feelings, guys.
I could probably put a graphic up for one time for people that could remember. But
Yeah.
yes, it was definitely a different time. But yeah, it will be 5 o'clock Central our time, to where the moratorium lifts. And they can actually... Oh, not moratorium. Moratorium. Why did I say moratorium? That was totally wrong.
Moratorium
is right? Was that right?
What, the little area where they
The
can
area
agree,
right where
but
they
they
can't talk.
sign.
I was going to say embargo.
Yeah, no, that's the moratorium.
Oh, that embargoes movies. Haha. Where critics can actually release their ratings. Yeah, so embargo is movies, and then so okay.
Yes, we got to get the right words, the right
things.
the
I'm
right
smart.
not dialect, but I don't know.
Dialogue,
I don't know.
words,
I don't know.
lexicon.
Making sure that the right context. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it's definitely. We're out there. So the moratorium does get lifted at that point at 5 p.m. Central. Our next episode is basically we are going to preview the free agency. There will be a free agency preview towards about midweek. Is that where it was about our timeline about guessing? But I do want to touch up and talk a little bit about it. With obviously draft out of the way now, it paves the way for free agency. We know James Harden's on the table. We know that a Fred VanVleet's on the table. We know a Brook Lopez is a serious threat to sign with Houston. GM, what? Now with the pieces that we have, with a Cam Whitmore, with an Amen Thompson now, along with this team, what should the Rockets, what is the premium now in terms of what the Rockets need? Like, for me, for example, 3-point shooting, I think, is a premium now. I think
Absolutely.
you need more 3-point shooting, and we do
I would
need
never say
a
no
savvy,
to more shooting.
and we need a savvy veteran point guard. But I want to know what you think, you being the GM after all. What is the most pressing need after acquiring someone like an Amen Thompson and Cam Whitmore for this Rockets?
The number one need is a vet, and especially at the point guard position. In order for this team to make the next step in terms of winning and moving towards that in terms of momentum, a point guard. And it's very understood why that Fred VanVleet and James Harden are the guys that people are looking into, essentially. Obviously there are trades. I mean, Tyus Jones is a guy that we have spoken about, and now he is in Washington. So, obviously there's some form of what the Rockets would love to do. But obviously I think prioritizing number one is a veteran point guard. Number two, obviously shooting. Shooting is certainly something that we can improve on, even though we do have Ben Sullivan, quote unquote, the shooting wizard coach-wise. We do need more shooters, and that's where guys like Cam Johnson, who is an excellent shooter and who can defend, Bruce Brown, NBA champion, he is certainly another name that people are looking into. And, there's if we're going to add even more vets, like Chris Middleton's a free agent. And even though we are linked to Brook Lopez, he is certainly someone as well that we could be linked to, and if that's something that he's open to at this point in his career, then maybe, who knows? But, obviously he's a name that people are going to look into. There's just so many different players that the Rockets are linked to that it's a lot. We have $65 million in cap space. So you're going to hear a ton of names. The
GM's favorite player as well, Dylan Brooks, also on the table.
Yeah, my favorite player to hate, Dylan Brooks. He's definitely a possibility as well. He is favored to join, and who knows?
Right.
I'm hoping that he doesn't. But considering our bet, if that's the move that we had to make, then I guess I'll have to do that. I will wear a Dylan Brooks shirt.
I'd wear a Dylan Brooks shirt proudly.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, if he's on my team, then you know what? I'll rep him. I promise you that.
Fuck it, I'm in. Yeah, no. I agree with all your incentives in terms of what fit that the Rockets need. I think first and foremost, the two things: 3-point shooting, veteran presence at the point guard position. It would obviously, for me, the preference getting James Harden back would instantaneously catapult this team into a playoff contender.
Yeah.
Even getting someone of a Fred VanVleet caliber would also catapult this team to playoff contention. I think that those two players are that good. I think in terms of what this team needs, though, I mean, you don't really need the high end is there. That's the premium. That's what you'd want. And if you can net one of them, great. Mm-hmm. Depending on the contract, how much they're going to get paid, and how long the term is. I would love for it to be a short-term deal, preferably for either of them. But I think in terms of what this team needs right now, I think getting a solid point guard. Obviously, you wanted Tyus Jones, like a good option that has obviously is now off the board.
Yeah.
But even getting someone like a Patrick Beverley, for instance, getting a point guard that is Derrick Rose, for instance, who's declined a player option now.
Yeah, that's right.
Is an available point guard.
He's a name I forgot to mention, but yeah, Derrick Rose is definitely someone that we would love on this team.
Exactly. Can kind of help navigate the waters for this young team. If you can't obviously get the high end players like a James Harden or a Fred VanVleet, Brook Lopez, obviously you just need a solid big, either who's going to play in front of Şengün or behind Şengün, regardless. You just need that veteran presence, a la Nene to Clint Capella. You just need that veteran savvy center that is willing to either play in front or behind, no matter what, just kind of plug and play and being that veteran presence that the team needs and they sorely need it at this point.
Yeah.
Not just the veteran presence, but veteran presence of people that can contribute. No hate on Boban. I love Boban, but there was a ceiling to Boban in terms of what he can contribute on the court.
Yes.
Off the court, 100%. Like, you need that type of presence, but I would like to see some type of players like a Nene, you know what I mean, that was able to come in and contribute as well.
Yeah.
So I would love to have someone like a Brook Lopez, 3-point shooting, Austin Reeves. Someone on the board that the Rockets
absolutely.
need.
Austin
Reeves love Austin Reeves.
Definitely a name to look at
on the Houston Rockets.
For sure.
Oh my gosh, 3-point shooting, and I can't say this enough. This team needs 3-point shooting. You just got Amen Thompson, who has a broken 3-point shot. You have Cam Whitmore, who's an okay 3-point shooter, but still not considered elite.
Yeah.
3-point shooting in today's NBA, you could get away with in the early 2000s, but in today's NBA, you need 3-point shooting across the board, 1 through 5. That's why Brook Lopez is an efficient 3-point shooter now.
Yep.
Şengün, you can hope that he gets to that point.
Şengün can definitely use the tutelage of a Brook Lopez in terms of improving his jumper.
100%.
So there you go. Yeah.
Right. But 3-point shooting is the premium for this team, and it's obvious. Look, point guard, big, 3-point shooting.
Yeah.
I mean, you're covered on the wings essentially. In my opinion, I think 3-point shooting is the one thing that'll separate. It'll create that space. So Jalen Green, the reason why it was so hard for Jalen Green and KPJ to attack the middle and attack the centers of the defense, attack the middle of the defense, is because they don't need to stay home.
Yep.
The defenders don't need to stay home. They can run into the paint. They can clog it. They know that they're going to leave a KJ Martin open, a Jabari Smith up until the later stages of the season, knowing that I'm not going to hate my boy.
Yeah.
My boy was struggling.
Yeah,
and you got all these guys.
The final. I don't even know, the final 30% of the games,
right, and finally came up and played to his potential,
there
right? Exactly. So when you leave guys like KJ Martin, Jayshawn Tate, you don't feel so bad. You're like, okay, I'll leave an Alperen Şengün, dare them to beat me.
But if you're leaving like a Cam Johnson, a Bruce Brown,
Austin Reeves,
then even like a Fred VanVleet and obviously James Harden, like you leave those guys, and Brook Lopez, hypothetically speaking, like that is something that other teams will have to account for in terms of defensive scheming, because at this point, this won't be your Rockets from 2021. This is going to be a completely different team, different style, different coach. We have a real coach, thank goodness. And with all that being said, like you just have to prepare for changes on this team.
Yeah.
This team will change, regardless whether you like it or not. This team will move forward.
Yeah,
and if it's
absolutely,
and if it's in the type of way that you guys will like it or not,
right,
that's up to your interpretation.
Right.
But the team's moving forward.
Right, 100%. And I think what the whole entirety of the situation is this: when you gather more 3-point shooting, or you gather someone like a Fred VanVleet and James Harden, Jalen Green can be an efficient 3-point shooter from a catch and shoot perspective. We already know Kevin Porter Jr. is a very high-end quality 3-point shooter in a catch and shoot situation.
Yep.
If you can utilize those two and put them in more catch and shoot situations, that ultimately elevates your 3-point shooting already out of the gate. So even getting someone like a Fred VanVleet,
it alleviates the pressure off those two guys as well,
That's what
especially
I'm
with those two guys dominating the ball.
Right.
Taking the ball out of KBJ's hands, people might feel like that's not putting him in a good position.
Not all the time, but you need to create catch and shoot potential scenarios
yes,
for him.
Exactly. And the thing is, like, you allow him to not make as many mistakes. You allow him to build confidence off the ball. And with that being said, when you do that, it allows him to shoot better and allows him to kind of have a clear mind instead of playing as a point guard where he's going to have to think. He's not a point guard, not naturally,
Absolutely.
So we're putting him in positions to succeed. For Jalen, it's just a matter of making the game easier for him and finding ways to allow it that way. He is the most talented player on this team, and he could be the best player on this team. He could be the best player for many teams and one of the best players in the league eventually. The point is to alleviate that pressure and allow him ways where he doesn't have to work so hard for his buckets. And with Ime Udoka here, we can tell you that there's definitely going to be adjustments made in terms of that.
Yeah, no, 100%. It's going to be an exciting time. Free agency just around the corner. We're going to see how this team is going to start shaping out. Obviously, Udoka is here. Amen Thompson, Cam Whitmore are here now officially. And now we're going to continue to see what's going to happen in terms of free agency and how it's going to play out. Who's coming? Is it James Harden? Is it Fred VanVleet? Is it Brook Lopez? Are we bringing in any more savvy veteran players? Are players like KJ Martin or Jayshawn Tate out of the door? Are they going to get traded? You just never know, and that's the beauty of the offseason, and this is the type of offseason you really need to pay attention to. So I highly recommend everybody to continue to follow us in terms of all Houston Rockets content, because as soon as these news breaks, we will be giving you out all the content and all of the news as they continue to unfold. Free agency is going to come out this Friday. We are going to produce an episode previewing free agency, which will come out later this week, so be tuned in. And on top of that, Jim, let's go ahead and end this episode here. A very joyous episode. The A+ draft. Excited for what these youngins are going to bring, and I'm excited to see what's going to happen here. GM, give the sign off one time for the people. Give the people what they want.
Yes, I will give you what you want. Follow me on Twitter at JP_Mirabueno. Make sure to follow the podcast on Twitter and TikTok at Summit, SOMPOD. Follow us on Instagram. And follow us on Instagram at Summit State of Mind _POD. See, I lost my train of thought there. And make sure to follow us, our people, our family, our brothers, over at Apollo NBA and at Apollo HOU.
Yeah, that's right. And you can give me a follow as well on Twitter at Summit Commit. Shouts to all of our podcast brethren, the Apollo Podcast Network, that continue to kill us. Shouts to BTDB on the Diamond, the crown jewel of all Houston Houston Astros podcast. We're just slurring everything today. Be sure to give them your first listen in terms of all Astros content. Shout outs to the Apollo Texans off the gridiron. Be sure to give them your first listen in terms of for all Houston Texans content, and shout outs as well to the One Take podcast. Anything and everything that you need in terms of pop culture, music, TV show, movies, be sure to give them your first listen in terms of all pop culture content. And we appreciate each and every one of y'all for making us your very first listen in terms of all Houston Rockets content. 167 episodes in the books officially now, so we are just so excited and happy once again to wrap this whole thing up in a nice little bow as we get out of here. As our producer gives the go home cue, we are going to be producing the free agency episode, and just continue to follow us in terms of all Houston Rockets content. We're going to continue to pump them out as they continue to pour in terms of the reports. There's going to be a lot of reports going on this week in terms of free agency and where these guys are going to go in terms of all these peaks and valleys, and we're just excited to see what's going to happen in terms of free agency this Friday, June 30th at 6 p.m. Eastern, 5 p.m. Central. Be sure to check out the Houston Rockets introductory press conference for the two guys, Amen Thompson and Cam Whitmore. Should take place around 1 to 2 p.m. They don't have a hard cap on the time yet as of right now. We're anticipating it around an early afternoon start. That's going to end our episode here. As we end every episode, go Summit, go Apollo, and we are looking up. Go Rockets.